Question 1. Here are the ingredients needed to make 16 gingerbread men. Hamish wants to make 24 gingerbread men. The key here is that the difference between 16 and 24 is 8. Therefore, if we half the amount of ingredients, that will give us the remaining 8 that we need. Half of 180 is 90, half of 40 is 20, half of 110 is 55, half of 30 is 15. If we add these together, that will give us enough to make 24 gingerbread men. So the answer is 270, 60, 165 and 45. Question 2. The scatter graph shows information about the height and the arm length of each of 8 students in Year 11. What type of correlation does the graph show? It is going up towards the right, so it is a positive correlation. A different student in Year 11 has a height of 148 centimetres. Estimate the arm length of this student. Each square represents 1 centimetre. So if we go to 148, if we put the line on, this constitutes your working out. Go up to our line of best fit and go across. The answer is 84. The line of best fit must follow the crosses. It doesn't have to touch any of them, and it doesn't have to be anywhere other than in the middle of the crosses. Question 3. Here is part of Gary's electricity bill. Work out how much Gary has to pay for the units of electricity used. The key here is to find out how many units he has used by taking this from this, and we get 60 units. 60 times 15p is 900 pence, which is £9. Question 4. Alison wants to find out how much time people spend reading books. She's going to use a questionnaire. Design a suitable question for Alison to use. This is not a data collection sheet. We must write a question with some answer boxes. The question must have a time frame on. So in this case, I have said, how long do you spend reading books per week? The option boxes must not overlap, but must cover all possible options. So 0 to 1 hours, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and more than 3. Notice I have used the greater than and equal to signs to help you differentiate between which one would go into. Question 5. Work out an estimate for this. When we are estimating, we change each of the numbers and round them all to one significant figure. 31 will change to 30, 9.87 to 10, and 0.509 to 0.5. 30 times 10 is 300, and dividing by 0.5 gives us 600. Dividing by 0.5 has the same effect of doubling. Question 6. Describe fully the single transformation that maps P onto Q. P onto Q is an enlargement. The triangles have both got larger. To find the centre of enlargement, we can join corresponding vertices together to find the centre of enlargement. I could have done that one at those two as well, but I've already found it by using those two. So centre of enlargement is at 0, 0. So to get your 3 marks, you need to use the word enlargement. The scale factor is 2.5, because the base of that is 2, and the base of that is 5. So you times that by 2.5, and the centre of enlargement is 0, 0. Question 7. Here's a diagram of Jim's garden. Jim wants to cover his garden with grass seed to make a lawn. Grass seed is sold in bags. There is enough grass seed in each bag to cover 20 metres squared of garden. Each bag of grass seed costs £4.99. Work out the least cost of putting grass seed on Jim's garden. The first thing we need to do here is work out the area of the garden. The area of a trapezium is found by doing the bottom at the top and halving them. That's got the effect of averaging those two sides out, and times it by the distance between them, 9. So 30 divided by 2 is 15, times by 9 is 135 metres squared. If each bag is 20 metres squared, 135 divided by 20 is actually 6.75, but that's approximately 7 bags because we'd have to buy whole bags. 7 lots of £4.99, or 7 lots of £5 is £35. Take off 7 lots of the penny is £34.93. Question 8. There are only red, blue, white and black counters in a bag. The table shows a probability that a counter taken at random from the bag will be red or blue. The number of white counters in the bag is the same as the number of black counters. Tanya takes at random a counter from the bag. Work out the probability that it will be white. If we add up the probabilities for red and blue, 0.2 and 0.5 is 0.7, and take that away from a whole one, because there are only these colours in the bag. There's 0.3. And as there is the same number of black and whites, we can divide that by 2, which is 0.15. If there are 240 counters in the bag, the number of red counters will be found by doing the probability times that. So 240 times 0.2 is 48. Question 9. Work out the volume of this prism. The prism has an L shape on the front made up of 2 rectangles, so I've split it down here. You could have gone across as well, but this rectangle will be 4 by 7, which is 28 centimetres squared, and this one will be 2 by 5, because if this is 9 and that's 4, this must be 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, 28 add 10 is 38, and if we times that by how far back it goes, which is 10, we get 380 centimetres cubed. Here is a map. The map shows 2 towns, Burford and Hightown. A company is going to build a warehouse. The warehouse will be less than 30 kilometres from Burford and 50 kilometres from Hightown. Shade the region on the map where the company can build. Here, the scale is 1 centimetre is 10 kilometres. So we need to open our compass to 3 centimetres and put that at Burford. This circle represents a radius of 3 centimetres. We then need to put it at 5 centimetres for Hightown, and the crossover here in the middle is where they can build their warehouse. Question 11. Expand these brackets. This means do 4 times everything inside the bracket. So 4 times 3x is 12x and 4 times 5 is 20. We do not put these two together because that is not 20x's, it's just 20. We can't put these together. Expand and simplify. If we expand the first brackets first, we get 2x minus 8. The second bracket gives us 3x plus 15, which gives us 5x's, and 8 taken away off 15 is 7. 5x plus 7. Expanding double brackets like this, we times everything in the second bracket by x and then everything by 4. So x times x is x squared, x times 6 is 6x, 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 6 is 24. We can then put the 6x and the 4x together to give you x squared plus 10x plus 24. Question 12. The diagram shows a circle drawn inside a square. The square is really important. The circle has a radius of 6 centimetres and the square has a side length of 12. Work out the shaded area. What we need to do here is work out the area of the square by doing 12 times 12, which is 144, and the area of the circle, which is pi r squared, so pi times 6 times 6. Leaving that in terms of pi is just 36 pi. If we take the circle away from 144, we will be left with each of these corner sections, and the bit we're after is just a quarter of that, so we divide by 4. 144 divided by 4 is 36, and 36 pi divided by 4 is 9 pi. The answer is 36 minus 9 pi. Question 13. Talil is going to make some concrete mix. He needs to mix cement, sand and gravel in the ratio 1 to 3 to 5 by weight. Talil wants to make 180 kilograms of concrete, and he has this amount of each. The first thing we need to do is figure out how much he actually needs, not how much he has. So here we have 9 parts in the ratio. 180 divided by 9 is 20. So we will need 20 kilograms of cement, 3 lots of 20 is 60 kilograms of sand, and 5 lots of 20 is 100 kilograms of gravel. He doesn't have enough cement because he's only got 15 kilograms. He has more than enough sand, and he's got the right amount of gravel. So no, Talil does not have enough cement to build this. The bearing of a ship from a lighthouse is 50 degrees. Work out the bearing of the lighthouse from the ship. If you are going in reverse, then to turn around backwards, you need to add on 180 degrees to turn through half a circle. So 50 plus the 180 is 230 degrees. M to the power 5 divided by m to the power 3. The shortcut here is just to take away the indices, give it m to the power of 2. Simplify this. First of all, we multiply the numbers together, which is just 5. Then the x's together. X to the 4 times x squared is x to the 6. And then the y's. Y to the 3 times y will be y to the 4. Question 16. The diagram shows a triangle. In the diagram, all the measurements are in metres. The perimeter of the triangle is 56 metres. The area of the triangle is a metres squared. Work out the value of a. First of all, we need to add up, in algebra, the perimeter. So if we add these up, these will add up to 7x. we are told that the perimeter is 56 metres. So 7x equals 56, meaning that x must be 8. And here I've made a mistake. That should be 8 metres. The area of a triangle is base times height and half it. So 3 lots of 8 is 24, again metres. And 8 to take away 1 is 7 metres. 7 times 24 is 168, and half it is 84 metres squared. I would have lost a mark for putting centimetres squared. It must put metres squared. The lines y equals x minus 2 and x plus y equals 10 are drawn on the grid. On the grid, mark with a cross each of the points with integer coordinates that are in the region defined by y is greater than x minus 2. So x minus 2 is this line here. So to be greater than that, it's this side. X plus y is less than 10. So this is x plus y equals 10. So less than 10 will be below that. And x is greater than 3. So where x is 3, we are to the right of that to be greater than it. So this region is what's represented by each of these. Put a cross on each of the points with integer coordinates. That means wherever there is a point inside this where we can have integer coordinates, we need to put a cross. You will notice that each of these are greater than or less than, not equal to. So we do not put crosses on any of the lines. It is just this point, this point, this point, and this point. Those are the only ones inside that region with integer coefficients. Question 18. The pattern is made from 2 types of tiles, tile A and tile B. Both tile A and tile B are regular polygons. That's very important. Work out the number of sides tile A has. Well, if tile B is a triangle and it is regular, that means it must be an equilateral triangle, meaning all angles are 60. If we look at this triangle here, the exterior angles of tile A make up, 2 of these exterior angles make up a full angle of tile B. So the exterior angle must be 30 for tile A. We know that exterior angles add up to 360, so 360 divided by 30 means it must have 12 sides. Question 19. Samina recorded the times in minutes some girls took to do a jigsaw puzzle. Samina used her results to work out the information in this table. A box plot shows us the minimum or the shortest time, the lower quartile, the median, upper quartile, and the longest time or the maximum time. So we are given each of these pieces of information. We just need to put them on the grid. The little tricky bit here is that each 2 squares is worth 1. So to put on 18, we need to go 15, 16, 17, 18. We put a line there for the minimum value. 25, nice and easy. 29, just go 2 squares back from 30. 33, we can count up from 30 again. And 45, just come 2 squares down from 45. Join these up. The middle section from the lower quartile, median and upper quartile give you the central box with the interquartile range between them. It says the box plot below shows information about the times in minutes some boys took to do the same jigsaw. Compare the distributions of the girls' times against the boys' times. First of all, we have been looking at the median. The median is an average, so we should say that because the boys has a lower median, on average, boys completed the jigsaw quicker. We could also look at the range. The boys' range from here to here is from 16.5 to 35.5, which is 19. And for the girls, it's from 18 to 44, which is 26. So we can say the boys were also more consistent, that's a very important word, as their range was lower. Question 20. Write the following numbers in order of size, start with the smallest. Here, it is better to convert each of these to normal numbers. So 0.38 times 10 squared would be 3.8. This would be 0.38, and this would be 0.038. We can then see that this one is the smallest, then this one, then this one, then this one. We should write them on the answer line in order using the original numbers that they were given. You would get a mark for writing these as ordinary numbers. Question 21. The table shows information about the speeds of 100 lorries. Complete the cumulative frequency table for this information. Cumulative means to add them up as you go along. So 2 add 9 is 11, add the 23 is 34, add 31 is 65, add 27, add the 8. I know I'm right because once I've got to 100, and I knew there was 100 lorries. When we are asked to plot this on the cumulative frequency graph, we plot the end point with the cumulative frequency. So 20 and 2, 40 and 11, 60 and 34, etc. So you can see my points here. They should then be joined up with a smooth curve. Find an estimate for the number of lorries with a speed of more than 90 kilometers an hour. The cumulative frequency graph tells us the amount of people, or in this case lorries, that do a certain speed or less. So reading off from 90 kilometers an hour, we know that 80 lorries did 90 kilometers an hour or less. That means that the remaining 20 lorries must have done more than 90. So we can do 100 take away 80 is 20. The answer is 20. Question 22, simultaneous equations. With simultaneous equations, we need to have either the x's or the y's having the same amount. So in this case, I've decided to times the top by 4 and the bottom one by 3, giving us 12x in both cases. Don't forget to times each of the other figures by 3 and 4 respectively as well. If I subtract these away from each other, I've actually taken the top one from the bottom one to avoid having negative numbers. So 15y take away the 8y is 7y, and 51 take away 16 is 35. The x's cancel out, and that's the reason for making them the same. So therefore y must be 5. Once we know y is 5, we can put that into either of these equations. I chose the top one. So 3x plus 2y, so 2 times 5 is 4. So 3x plus 10 is 4. So 3x is minus 6, taking 10 off that side. So x must be minus 2. Put my answers on my answer line. This was a tricky question. We are given the equation of the line DA. So it says DA has an equation of y equals minus 2x plus 6, which means that we know that D is at 6. We can use this to find out the coordinates of A also. If the coordinates of A, we put into this equation the fact that y is 0 at this point. So if y is 0 at this point, then x must be 3, because minus 2 times 3 will give you 6, plus 6 would give you the 0. So point A is where x is equal to 3. We know the equation of the line PAB must be y equals a half x plus or minus something. We know it's a half x because it's perpendicular to line DA. And to find a perpendicular line, we find the inverse, and we also change the sign of the gradient. So I've made it positive and I've changed it to a half x, finding the reciprocal of that. Once I know that, I can also put x equals 3 and y equals 0 to find out our value of c here. So when x is 3, a half of 3 is 1.5, and to make that equal to 0 at this point, then c must be minus 1.5. Meaning that the point P is at 0 minus 1.5, as the number on the end is the y-intercept. If D is at 6 and P is at minus 1.5, the length of PD is therefore 7.5. 6 to minus 1.5. Question 24. Make T the subject of the formula. In this case, we've got T's on the top and the bottom of this fraction. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this fraction by taking 4 plus T onto the other side. If we expand that out, we can have T as a term on its own. So 4p plus pt equals 3 minus 2t. Our next step is to get all the t's on one side. So I'm going to take the minus 2t's onto this side, it becomes plus 2t, and take the 4p onto this side, it becomes minus 4p. If I then factorise this, it will give t on its own. So pull out t as a factor, we're left with p plus 2 inside the brackets, and I'm going to leave this side alone. I can then divide both sides by p plus 2, which gives us 3 minus 4p over p plus 2. Question 25. The key here is to remember that the scale factor of lengths is squared to get the scale factors for area and cubed to get the scale factors for volume. The scale factor is simply 2 times 2 for the lengths. To work out the scale factor of the volume, we need to cube that. So 2 cubed is 8. So if the volume of solid A is 80, then 80 times 8 is 640 centimetres cubed. If the surface area of B is 160, then we know that the scale factor is going to be 2 squared, because we're talking about area. So the scale factor for the areas will be 4. So we would find something times by 40 was 160. So if we divide by 4, we know that the answer must be 40. Rationalise the denominator of 5 over root 2. To rationalise, we times the top and the bottom by the denominator of the original fraction. So we're going to times top and bottom by root 2, which will give us 5 root 2 on the top, and root 2 times root 2 gives you just 2. You're simply squaring, which is the opposite of square rooting. This is your final answer. Part B, expand and simplify this. Well, I've done this in 2 separate bits. So 2 plus root 3 squared is actually this. And when we expand it out, we'll get 2 times 2 is 4, 2 root 3 plus another 2 root 3, and root 3 times root 3 is just 3. Take away, and this means this. Because we're taking away, every time we multiply each one of these, we need to change the sign. So 2 times 2 is 4. Because we're taking away, we put minus 4. 2 times minus root 3 is minus 2 root 3. Because we're taking away, we need to put it as plus 2 root 3. The same here. And then minus root 3 times minus root 3 is plus 3. Because we're taking away, it becomes back to minus 3 again. You will see that the 4 and minus 4 cancel. The 3 and the minus 3 cancel. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 root 3s. Question 27. On the grid, draw the graph of x squared plus y squared equals 4. This is the equation of a circle, where the number on the end is the radius squared. So in this case, the radius of our circle must be 2. So in here, we start at the origin and we do a radius of 2 and draw a circle. On the grid, sketch the graph of y equals cos x for between 0 and 360. Cos of 0 is 1, so we're going to start here, and it oscillates by 90 degrees, by 1 every 90 degrees. So we're going to go down to 90, 180 at minus 1, 270 back at 0, and 360 back at 1 again. Question 28. Find the vector PB in terms of A and B. So we want to get from P to B. We don't know the vectors up here, because that's what we're after. So what we need to do is we need to go the opposite way around. So if we go up here, that is minus 3b's, 1, 2, 3, and then plus an A to get to there. There's minus 3b plus A. I prefer to write that as A minus 3b. It says B is the midpoint of AC. So B is the midpoint of AC. M is the midpoint of PB. Show that NMC is a straight line. So this here is a straight line. Well, if this is a straight line, from N to M must have the same vector or as M to C, or a multiple of it, to show that it's parallel. And if they share the point M, then it will be a straight line. So I've written if NM is a multiple of MC and they share the point M, then NMC is a straight line. That's very important to write to the examiner, that you know what you're doing. NM, to get from N to M, I'm going to go down here, which is a B, and then up here, which is a half of what we just found. So B plus a half of A minus 3B. If we expand that out and simplify, we get a half A minus a half B. To get from M to C, we need to go up here, which again is a half of this, so half of A minus 3B, plus A, because B was the midpoint, so if that's A, that must also be A. And if we expand this out, we get 1.5 A minus 1.5 B. And you'll see that that is just 3 times that. And because we have said that M is a shared point, and this is just showing that these two lines are parallel, but this one is 3 times longer, therefore NMC is a straight line.